Hey guys, kinggath here, and welcome to my Fallout 4 / Sim Settlements playthrough. I'm hoping this will be a forever series, something that I just continually do from now until I am bored of Fallout 4 for life and have moved on from modding, which will hopefully be a long time from now. But the goal of this series is to do a couple of things. One is to show off all the Sim Settlements features, so you guys can see somebody who knows all of the development side play through it, where I'll probably end up incidentally revealing a bunch of things that never made it into documentation or into a video. And then also I get a chance to play the game again and see the mod through fresh eyes. Because one of the things is when I'm only testing things I've put in, I tend to do things always the way I know they're meant to be done, just because I'm just playing through it for the sake of like making sure something does what I want it to. But once you start playing things as a gamer, you start to see quality of life issues and bugs for using things where that seemed intuitive, but maybe it wasn't designed to do. So I think I'll improve the mod by doing this. And I also want to make sure that you guys know about all the little nitty-gritty secrets in it. But the third thing that I'm hoping to do with this playthrough is actually there are more than three. Let's just keep going. So the third thing I want to do is to get a chance to show off a lot of mods. So there's a bunch of cool mods out there that I don't think get enough spotlight on them. There are a bunch of random mods that I want to experiment with to see how they work with Sim Settlements, and there are a ton of mods you guys know about that I'm not using that I want to have kind of a back and forth with you so we can build like a really cool kind of awesome mod list that we can share with others. So I'll be kind of building this mod list as we go. So this is going to be a very experimental series, and I would not be surprised if we have to start new games over and over and over again, and I'm okay with that because we'll do tricks to kind of catch things back up. And since each video, it's not going to be a continuous Let's Play. It's not going to be like the goal, like you're going to see this character go from level 1 to 50 and all the stories and missions he goes on. I'm not going to be telling a story. It's all going to be about just enjoying content, enjoying Fallout 4. We're going to focus on Sim Settlements, but we're also going to look at other mods and figure out how they interact with Sim Settlements. Because number 4, the fourth thing that I want to do with this is really dive into how Sim Settlements feels while playing Fallout 4. So I'm going to be paying attention to that. That might not be something that, comes through on the videos necessarily. It might be that I periodically have a section of these weekly videos where I talk about that in the context of what I've learned through my playthroughs recently. But there is something I've always wanted to do. It's been on my long-term agenda for Sim Settlements, and it's always something I'm looking at ways we can improve, which is making the two games feel like one. So I often get told that essentially Sim Settlements is using Fallout 4 as its delivery mechanism and it's its own game. And that's not been my goal. That's just kind of a side effect of me adding more and more features without taking the time to make sure that they're fully integrated in with the rest of the game. So that's going to be something I'm going to be taking a lot of notes of and really paying attention to and looking for ways I can improve so that you feel like you're playing a Bethesda exploration RPG, but also enjoying the city building elements of Sim Settlements. Now, I know some of you just use Sim Settlements as kind of to fill in a part of the game you don't actually like, and I'll be experimenting with some of that too. So I'll be doing a mix of three things. One is I'm going to be doing some just straight up building with Sim Settlements. I'll have some settlements set aside where my whole goal is to just play through the Sim Settlements mechanics, get a feel for dynamic needs from the player perspective, try and build through the tech tree of Industrial Revolution, and then I'll have other settlements where I have pre-built with the Conqueror system, where they're all going to just start up with random city plans, a lot of the randomization options, so I'll have no idea what to expect when I get to them. And then still others, I will build the city plans after the game starts so that we can talk about all of the stuff that goes into that and look at how that feels over time, how the timing feels. Is it too long? Is it too short? Is it too involved? Is it not involved enough? And I'll largely be playing with the default options of Sim Settlements. So I'm going to be playing with the way that I kind of anticipate most people will be playing. And there's probably eventually I'll switch at a different playthrough where I will turn on all of the hardcore options. So at the start, I'm going to just play with the default options, which are going to be things like dynamic needs are enabled and the scrap collection requirement for city plans and stuff like that. So some of the things that I like to have enabled by default, just so I get a feel for what I anticipate I'm pushing on to most players. So I really get a feel for that. So if you're familiar, or if you played around with the new wizard in Sim Settlements that was added a few patches back, essentially there's 3 options when you start. It's new. You either do new user and then you get kind of mostly automated. But then if you choose returning user, you get automation, which is basically everything is kind of free for all. It's almost like a free build mode where you don't have to worry about a lot of resources or messing around with the back end mechanics, and everything it's literally just like a sandbox game. Then there's City Builder, which has a lot of the basic rules. That's what I consider the default, the City Builder. That's how I balance Sim Settlements out. That's kind of what I focus on when I'm doing the initial development and we're deciding on features and what stuff should be enabled. That stuff, that's all the City Builder. And then there's the kind of hardcore mode, which is that's where there's extra advanced options for people who really like to get nitty gritty in controlling the details of things and who want to have an extra challenge. So that's things like the maintenance mode and stuff like that. And we actually have a lot of features in development to add more to the hardcore, because I know there are a lot of people who really enjoy getting into that factorial level of depth where you've just got tons and tons of little things you can micromanage if you want to make for an efficient city. And so I will eventually experiment with those and play. Probably it'll be just a new playthrough at some point when we're going through this series. But this initial one is going to be around the City Builder profile that you choose at the beginning. Okay, so let's talk about the mods I use. So I have a detailed Google Doc sheet with all the mods I am using. It is very short. You guys are going to be shocked how few mods I'm using at the start. That was somewhat intentional, but somewhat a surprise to myself. So when I started this series, I knew I wanted to play with a lot of mods for the sake of giving those mods a chance to shine, but also a chance to play with them and see how they interact with Sim Settlements. And when I started curating through my mod list, I realized that a lot of them had become obsolete over time. They weren't being updated anymore. Or others, I just didn't feel meshed with what I was going to be trying to do with this series, which was focus on Sim Settlements. And even some of those I kept in anyway, just because I'm still not sure exactly how this playthrough is going to go. It's going to be very experimental. I will tell you guys that up front. I'm not going to be doing a structured, like I said, you follow me along from a character. And we're probably going to break saves because we're going to try out new mods. It's literally just like you guys are going to be more coming along on a journey with me to experience Sim Settlements again as a player, even though I'm the developer. It's going to be a very weird thing for me, and hopefully it will be a unique take on the Let's Play for you guys. And what I want to do with the mod list is continue to update it constantly. So while I probably won't trim mods just because that's dangerous to do in the middle of a playthrough, I will likely be adding mods, and that can be dangerous, but it's generally less dangerous than removing mods. And what I'll end up doing is if I install new mods and any of them are particularly extreme, I'll probably play for an hour and make sure it's stable still before we continue. And I'll be looking for ideas for new mods from you guys. So if you want to make comments with recommendations of mods, I would ask that you include a link to the Nexus page and describe why you think I would like it. And then I will go through those comments every week and try and add those into the playthrough. Now, I don't know how real time we're going to do this. So my plan currently is to set aside a couple hours every week to play the game. And then Rick is going to go through and figure out what stuff is interesting. So you guys, this is the thing. I'm not a live streamer. I'm not a professional Let's Player or anything, so I don't know how much talking I can actually do or how much I can entertain you guys with it. So he's going to try and prune it and make sure that each episode is interesting. So if it ends up being that my 2 or 3 hours of play each week end up only resulting in 20 or 30 minutes of content, great. Then you guys will get to see the real-time video. So it will be like each week the video will be up to date and you will see, and everything will have been in response to any comments you guys made. But if instead we find that there's a lot of good content in there and it can be spread out over several weeks of videos, then there might be gaps between when I respond within the video to your comments and suggestions. So I'm going to be looking for new mod ideas from you guys, not new mod ideas, but new mods to install ideas. But before we go into that, I wanted to talk about the types of mods that I do have installed and the types of mods that I tend to like. So the first thing I put on my list, and all of this information I try to put, it's lower down on the mod list page. You'll see a section called recommending mods to me where I describe some of my likes and dislikes about mods. I am open to learning about new mods, things that maybe I'm not in my list, but I do have a few criteria that I'll probably shut down pretty hard just because they don't mesh with my playstyle, or they don't mesh with the way I enjoy playing Fallout. So I'm kind of a tone Nazi. I really, really like the way Fallout 4 is. I don't like bringing in things like modern weapons. I don't like bringing in greenery mods, things like that. So there's certain things where I just like, I'm a hard no on. And I know some people are gonna be like, well, that's dumb. There's so much great content. Sorry, that's just me. I really, really like the Fallout 4 aesthetic. I like their alternate history. I'm a big fanboy of all that stuff. So I want to keep that stuff in place. So immersion is probably number one for me. I know there's some great mods I'm missing out on by sticking to that, but that's where I'm at. Next up is balanced. So I want things that aren't super overpowered. I want to have to work for them. Like, I'm fine with things that are overpowered, because to me, you play a Bethesda RPG, eventually you become God in that universe. Like, you're so overpowered that any enemy is just like a single shot from you. And I get that, and that's part of the draw to me. I love that feeling. But I don't want it to just be handed to me. Like, I don't want to walk out of Vault 111, open up a crate, and I've got, some crazy God tier weapon, which is one of the things that really annoyed me about some of the Creation Club content, and we'll get to that in a minute. So I want things that are balanced. So I tried to put things in that aren't too overpowered unless they have ways for me to hunt them down and to actually earn access to them. Now, I haven't really looked into the balance on a lot of the weapon mods I have installed, because I did find a lot of weapon mods that were basically ports from older Fallout games, and I love those. I'm also into, and I know you guys will know a lot I'm missing out on, of weapon mods where the author created their own thing that fit within the universe. Those I love as well, but I've only found a couple, because I'm not usually a weapon mod guy, but I decided to change that up for this, is like to try and experiment some more and get some more feel of freshness to the game, because I've spent a lot of hours in Fallout 4. So anything I can do to add a little bit of freshness will be nice, but I want to do it without breaking the tone of the game. And freshness for me is just finding new things to explore, and you're going to see that in my mod list. Like, I have Beantown Interiors Project and Tales from the Commonwealth. Those are just things to be like, hey, here's some new stuff, because it's been like, I played with the very early versions of those mods, but I don't remember them enough to be like to be an expert. So I'm gonna find a lot of new stuff with mods like that, where it's just gonna be like, oh, this is fun, just to get those moments of sucking me back into the Fallout 4 universe, because playing through the same, the main story over and over again can eventually get pretty tired. I'm sure any of you guys who have been playing Sim Settlements since launch are in that camp, and that's why you love Sim Settlements, is so you don't have to spend a lot of time in the main game. But I like the main game, and I want to spend some time in it, and that's going to help pull me in so that I get kind of re-addicted to playing the game again instead of just developing it. Not that I have an intention to stop developing. We have a crazy 2019 lineup for you guys of mods and updates and stuff. But anyway, some of that you might learn during this playthrough too, as I might accidentally spill the beans on some stuff we're working on. All right, so let's get back to the list. So I talked balance last. Other things I like are, and this is related to that, is I don't like just crafting things. I want things in leveled lists, or I want things in a quest. So if you guys have any mod recommendations for things that I'm gonna have to go to an armor bench and make myself, through armor or whatever, or weaponsmith, I probably am not going to use those, just because I love loot. I am a sucker for the MMO genre. I spent many a year playing things like Warcraft and Destiny, and I still get suckered into that, and I love it. And so for me, that's one of the fun things of Fallout 4 is, and it gives me the little thrill of actually killing enemies, whereas otherwise I might just avoid enemies for the sake of like expediency of getting through to my objectives, because there's the potential to find new and interesting loot everywhere. Then it makes me want to kill enemies. And if I'm just going and crafting the coolest thing there is in the game, then I have no reason to go loot hunting. And for that reasons, I'll obviously be playing with salvage beacons so I can loot to my heart's content. I am a big loot whore, and that will be another reason where the pruning of the video comes into play, because it could be, you could end up seeing a half-hour video of me just farming through a location and grabbing every single thing that isn't nailed down, and that could get pretty boring. So we're definitely not going to show you every minute of my playthrough. unless I'm on a tear talking or something about something interesting. Mods that and on that, the level list and quest required thing. So one of the reasons I mentioned about Creation Club content is there is a gentleman, and I don't have his name handy, and I very much apologize for that. In fact, I'm going to look it up right now just because it's that important that he gets props for this. There is a guy out there who is in the process of taking all of the Creation Club mods, or at least most of them, and giving them immersive quest starting. Not necessarily making them so that they are that they have new quests or anything, but at least making it so that they aren't just all popping up on your screen, because it drives me a little nuts. So I do own a lot of the Creation Club content. I apologize to those of you who hate it and find it to be the devil. I am not one of those people. I get that some of this stuff is a little steep on the pricing, and I can see an argument against that, but I am not going to I don't want to discourage Bethesda from releasing new content, even if the price is a little extreme, because some of it, especially when they start discounting stuff, like I only buy it when it's discounted. I've spent almost nothing, and I've got a good majority of the content. But here I found it's Chibi CD. So Chibi CD has a whole series of more immersive quest start mods, and what I'm going to be doing is anytime, and I don't have it installed for this initial first thing, although you're not going to see much gameplay. It's mostly going to be probably just me building my character. When we get into that, as he releases these, if I have that Creation Club content, I'll be installing those, because I love that idea of having that stuff, of having some of the cool new weapons and stuff they built, or having access to some of the locations or the little quests they've added, but I don't want them all spamming me at my startup sequence. So I've got all of my Creation Club stuff disabled right now until I get a chance to find all of his mods and figure out the details with that, because the other thing we're going to eventually run into, if I keep installing all the mods you guys recommend, is the mod limit. So, and I don't want to have to get into all the patching and everything. I have no interest in being one of you crazy guys who's got 550 mods installed through patching and merging and stuff like that. I don't have the desire to go through all that trouble. So at some point, I imagine we'll hit a limit. And so, like, for example, if these patches aren't ESL for some reason or whatever, and I have to start cutting, then I have to make those decisions. So those are the types of mods that might get the chop on that. But it is something I wanted you guys to be aware of, because I am not anti-Creation Club. I'm not a hardliner in that. I am anti crazy prices on them, so I wait for the discounts, but I digress. All right, another thing to talk about are the add-on packs. So you're going to notice right away when you look at my mod list that to start, all I have is the Mega Pack and the City Plan contest entries as my non-base Sim Settlements content, and that was intentional. So my goal is either at the start or some point in each episode of this series is I'm going to install a new add-on pack and talk about it. So I'm going to give it, because I've played with a bunch of them just to see how they work and see what kind of stuff people were coming up with, and I've helped some of them with trouble in their add-on packs, but I want to give each of them kind of a little bit of a spotlight, and so show you guys some of the buildings. And previously, I had just been making announcements about them, where I would just make a video every couple of weeks where it would be like, here's the 3 add-on packs that released this week, and I didn't really show you guys them. But now I'm actually going to give each one a little bit of time in these videos, so there might be, maybe it'll become a little constant section. I don't know how we're going to handle it exactly, but I'm going to slowly add all of the add-on packs and show them off to you guys. Now, there will, because of my immersion obsession, some of them I won't end up using. I'll either uninstall them, or I will put them on my ban plan list, because they're not, if there's some of them that use very clean textures or are too fantastic, or like, for example, Uit has one that's all these over-the-top gigantic things where it just wouldn't fit in with the way I'm trying to play, because I am trying to enjoy the game from an immersive standpoint, and I'm not intentionally going to be breaking everything and starting over. I think that'll just be the side effect of the way I'm going to be playing. So some of them I might not keep installed, but I will at least install them long enough to show you guys off some of the stuff that they add, so you get a taste of those. And this is just my way to say thank you to those add-on, well, a way, because it's definitely not enough, but a way to say thank you to those add-on pack authors, because they put in so much damn work to make some settlements even cooler, and it's awesome. It's like a big community experiment to build a mod together. And so you're going to see those add-on packs start adding to my list, so you don't need to suggest those, because those those are coming. But again, once you look through my mod list, you'll kind of get a feel for the types of stuff I like. And like I said, I've only got to launch only about 40 or 50 mods, so it's a pretty tight list. So there's lots of room for expansion, and I'm sure I'm missing a ton of cool mods that you guys are going to tell me about. So I imagine these first couple of videos, I'm going to just get spammed hard with comments, and that's cool. I will get back to each of you as soon as I can with either a, yep, love that, want it, or a maybe next time, or a nope, that's not up my alley. I'll try to respond to everybody who suggests a mod. But please do me a favor. One of the things I am going to do on this sheet is continue to add, I'll probably set up a rejected section at the bottom. If you could, before you start suggesting mods, is go search that rejected section and don't keep submitting the same mods to me over and over again, just because that's going to get tiring after a while. There are a couple of mods I'm a hardline against, one of which is sex mods. I'm not going to use them. More power to you if you do it. Just not my thing. I like to build, kill, and explore. Anything else is kind of unnecessary to me, and I don't want to get involved with it. So if it's not in those areas, then like sex mods are the one I can think of that's just seems unnecessary. I'm not looking to like live in the game, so I don't need I don't want a lot of like micromanagement stuff. So one of the mods I'm going to probably set aside some time to test independently and play with a lot of completely independently of this particular playthrough is Horizon. I know it adds so much depth to the game, but some of it's to the point of excessive, in my opinion. Like there's some amazing stuff Zalinol has done with that mod, but I don't want to get stuck down on the nitty gritty. I would rather kind of go through things on a broader level. And like I said, I'm going to be spending a lot of time exploring some settlements mechanics. So then if I'm also getting distracted by Horizon mechanics, I think that's going to detract from what we're trying to do here with this series. But it is one of those mods where I know enough people play with it, and enough people would love to see it more integrated with Sim Settlements that it's definitely on my radar to check out in the future. And maybe that'll be something I do in combination with exploring the more advanced options of Sim Settlements, as where we take some time to look at really deep levels of gameplay for those of you who like to get into the complexities, and the more the merrier in that regard. Because it is something that I'm interested in supporting, even if it's not something I play with all that often. And then the other one is, and you'll see on my thing, I'm kind of wishy-washy about it, is texture mods. So I don't tend to use them. So texture mods to me, some of them are amazing, and then others to me are a little bit unimmersive, or the artist took some liberties that I maybe don't agree with. And so I don't tend to use any texture mods, but there's probably some out there where I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot for not using. So that if you guys can give your arguments for why I might use a texture mod, then I will consider those as well. Another thing about this recommending mods, please, just for, humor me and join me along this journey, limit yourself to one recommendation per video. If everybody can do that, like I know each of you probably has an amazing mod list you'd love to see me use, but if you can join me for this series, and then, once a week you throw me a new mod, maybe start with your best, because the people that throw me the ones I really like, I'm probably going to be more interested in what they suggest. Whereas if if your first suggestion is a sex mod, after I just said I don't play with sex mods, I'm probably not going to listen to the rest of your suggestions. So, try and throw your best stuff first to get to kind of bait me in, so I'm ready to go with the rest of your suggestions, and then save the rest for 1 week at a time. So that way, and that gives more people an opportunity to say, hey, I made kinggath play that mod. So yeah, one per week if you could, in the comments of these vids. Okay, so I think that covers enough. Like I said, this is an experimental series. I'm going to continue to adapt it and keep playing with it. Unlike the Fallout 76 series, this one won't just suddenly end. That one ended for a variety of reasons. I had kind of grown tired of the game. I wasn't getting sucked in, and you guys were going to start to hear that in my videos. Whereas this is so important, I think, to the future of Sim Settlements, that I kind of get myself back in the headspace of a player. That I'm gonna continue to do it, and like I said, all of the little mods I'm adding to add exploration and stuff is to make sure I don't grow tired of playing Fallout 4. And so mods like that, definitely, like throw me quest mods. I especially love quest mods that are integrated in the Commonwealth. When I have to go to a whole new world space, it kind of takes me out of it because then I know I'm in a mod. Whereas if things are integrated cleanly with the Commonwealth, it really feels awesome to me. Like I love mods that take the time to make themselves feel part of the world, which is probably why I have a soft spot for the Creation Club content, even though I know it's a what's the term? I can't even think of it. Whatever, you guys know. There's some of you hate it, but I like that it's all integrated within the main game world. So any mods like that can add me some more excitement and thrills while I'm playing, definitely, you guys should definitely throw me. But my goal is to keep the series going for a long time, and I will definitely be right away getting into the Conqueror content. So I know that's something you guys are all excited about, and that'll give me an opportunity to show off each of the new features in depth, because unlike things like Rise of the Commonwealth, Industrial Revolution, where most of the stuff was all in at launch, Conqueror we're doing in phases because the stuff's so complex, and we want to work out all the bugs. So this will give me a chance to kind of do what I did the opening day of instead of a live stream, you guys will just be able to catch these videos and you'll see a lot of the new features in Conqueror. Okay, so I think that about wraps up the kind of preamble of what I'm going to be doing. And then in the next video, we'll kick off getting out of the vault and doing stuff. So guys, I hope you're excited for this playthrough. I am incredibly excited. I'm really excited to see what kind of mods you guys recommend after you see my list, and where we can take this, because I think we'll be kind of building, hopefully we'll be building kind of this super mod list that works well with Sim Settlements, and we can recommend to people down the road as we kind of curate this and make it perfect. All right, guys. Take care, and I will see you next week for more Fallout 4 Sim Settlements playthrough.